gonna say it once and for all. What is with you guys in the wig? It's not that big a deal. I think it looks lovely. Welcome to Marvel Inhumans. I appreciate that everybody stayed to the end of the day. I'd like to think the best is last. We're extremely proud of the show. And I just, again, are you guys out there? Because, you know what? This happens every time we do a show. First of all, you know, I mean, you can tell, the whole cast is here. Like, they're here. So, and even if you don't know them, you're going to get to know them, and so they need to know that you're here. And so, you know, we'll try a little exercise. We'll see how we do. Okay, so, as everybody knows, or at least I think they do, this show is so big that we could not contain it just to television. We had to take the folks at IMAX on a trip with us. And so the first 2 episodes are gonna come together, and they're going to be in IMAX theaters on September 1st. So what I want to do is, I want you guys over here, I think that's half. You guys, I want, see, and it's gonna be a problem because I always know it with you guys, it's IMAX September 1st, okay? So when I point at you, and not before, this side goes IMAX September 1st, okay? Ready? Okay, there's like 3 people over here that have to get thrown out. We'll try it one more time because I know you need practice because it's the end of the day and you're tired. Wake up. So, ready and... Sweet. You know what you're going to do? You're going to be embarrassed because this side, you guys get to do the other side, which is that on ABC on September 29th, we're going to show the first 2 episodes with brand new footage. So it's kind of like a variant cover. And then the rest of the 6 episodes are going to air on ABC Friday nights at 9 o'clock. And so I'm not gonna make it hard. All you need is ABC September 29th. So let's see, remember, you heard them, you can do that. So, go. Okay, that was okay, but the fact that you people talked at all was a miracle. So we're gonna try one more time. You guys don't talk. You guys go. Boom. Okay, clearly this group just wants to get thrown out. So it's just, they're all gonna be NBC people. So, all right, now we're gonna try it. First IMAX, because that opens first on September 1st, and then you guys are going to do it, and it's going to be awesome. And here we go. IMAX September 1st, ABC September 1st, ABC I know when the show's going to be on. We'll figure that out. This doesn't happen without an incredible number of people, particularly a show this size and scope. And I need to thank them all because I'm just lucky. That's all I can tell you. At Marvel, my partner and co-head of the division is Jim Corey, Kareem, Megan, Caitlin, Wendy, the incredible people that work in marketing and PR who are Mike and Tim and Reiné, and I'm forgetting other people, and I know they're wonderful, and I thank you all for all your hard work. In New York, Dan Buckley, possibly the king of Comic-Con, Joe Quesada, and Alan Fine just made all of this possible. I can tell you that none of it's possible without our partnership at IMAX, and I just want to thank Rich and Andrew Collins, and in particular the guy who just sat down and said, I'm going to make this happen, and that's Greg Foster. And if you guys could give an extra clap for Greg. Our friends and partners at ABC, Channing and Sherwood and Joe and Patrick and Brian and Nay and Heather and Juan, you guys were incredibly supportive on this incredibly crazy idea that we had, that we were going to have a television show that opened in a theater and then went on to a television and had a 2,000-pound bulldog that we were going to have to take out. But rather than talking more about that, let's bring out this cast, which if you don't know them, I actually guarantee you that after September 1st, they will be, we're just going to fill this hall again next year and have so much fun. The director of the IMAX in the first 2 episodes is an incredibly talented gentleman, and we're so lucky to have him. Roel, will you come out and say hello? You can't have pictures without words, and I was very lucky to be able to crowbar him out of another show onto this, where he's been doing really magical work, and that's Scott Buck and his incredible writing staff. And now we are going to introduce you to the Inhumans. Growing up, my favorite Inhuman, and if you all go out and find Amazing Adventures #9 in the back, in the letter section, there's actually a letter from me writing to Stan and telling him what I thought the story ought to be, which tells you a lot about me. And my favorite character was Triton, and he's Mike, if you'll come out. And Mike, we did a little present for you to say thank you for being All right, and so I should probably tell the cast to come this way. She came to us and just kicks ass as Auron. If you read the comics, she kicks ass in the comics. And so when Sonya first came in, we just said, well, she's going to have to play this part. So Sonya, come on out. There's not much I can tell you about her character until at some point we're going to tell you. Let's just tell you that you're just going to fall in love as we did with Ellen. So Ellen, come on out. We've been spending a lot of time talking about our 2,000-pound bulldog. She's the person who has to look after her. I have to tell you, I was completely taken aback because through the whole show, she's blonde and has the donut on the back of her head like in the comics. And when she comes out, she's not going to look like that, but you're not going to be disappointed about it. Isabelle, come out and let everybody meet you. She plays Crystal. And again, I think one of the favorites for you guys, with these massive clothes, he can just destroy cities and stuff, and he's incredibly powerful, and we're so lucky to have discovered Emmy, and he's just somebody you're going to know, and again, be truly delighted by. Emmy, come on out, he plays Gorgon. If you're a fan of Lost, if you're a fan of The Sopranos, you know this gentleman. He was actually the first one cast. When we found out that we were going to have Karnak in the show, I could only just see Ken in the part. So, Ken, come on out. When you're gonna cast Maximus the Cunning, not necessarily Maximus the Mad, although he might be, look, you know him even better than we did when we first started out, and it's been just an incredible pleasure working with Iwan. She is our queen. You saw her very briefly. She has the responsibility for about 40 pounds of hair that will move and be wonderful and be a CG element. And is an extraordinary actress and handled the drama and the comedy and just, ladies and gentlemen, Serinda Swan, please be beautiful. So you go to an actor and you say to an actor, this is a great chance to play one of those iconic characters in Marvel. This character's over 50 years old, he's a king, he's regal, it's unbelievable, and by the way, there's no lines. And guess what, there's never gonna be any lines. It's not like we're going back in time and you're gonna get to do it some other way, or there's a magic surgery or anything else like that. And I can tell you, as the character that he plays, the acting that he does, just blew us all away. And yeah, I can say that. Anson now plays Black Bolt. So welcome, all of you guys. Some of this, how many for you this is your first Comic-Con? Okay, so gotta make these people feel welcome, folks. I should probably mention that because we're here at San Diego and because we love San Diego as much as San Diego loves us, you're gonna get to see stuff today that no one has ever seen before. And then I should also mention, and I'll mention it again at the end, there is an opportunity after this panel that if you go over to Horton Plaza, they're going to show it in IMAX over there. And so we'll talk about that a little later too, but I just want to let you know that that's going on as well. And this gang will be here, and there'll be all kinds of opportunities to do that stuff. I want to talk with you guys first. So, Roel, you got this gig largely because you were insane enough to agree to go to Hawaii, and you're all sitting there going, oh yeah, Hawaii, oh, I do that. But if you shoot in the jungle in Hawaii for 4 months, you might have a different opinion. It's so lush and beautiful. Tell us just a little bit about working with the cameras and trying to get to make something that has that size and scope.
Yeah, first of all, shooting in IMAX kind of scared everybody, because I thought IMAX cameras were still like big refrigerators, but they have new digital ones, and I think we borrowed them from Avengers, right? So before I was involved, I wanted to test them out, so I brought a IMAX camera to a testing facility in Los Angeles, and I was throwing it around, and the people of IMAX, they were so scared, throwing this thing around. And then the funny thing, I asked them if they had any wider lenses, because I felt the lenses were not wide enough for this scope what we are trying to do. So they built a special lens for us for this show. And when you see this thing that we did on IMAX, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling beautiful. Was that an answer to your question?
So, Scott, like, this is a whole lot of people with superpowers. Were you doing a superpower show? Is that what you set out to do when we first sat down?
No, I think the best approach for a show like this is just not to see these people as superheroes, but as people or Inhumans who happen to have a superpower. And as people watch the show, they will see that these superpowers are not always necessarily an asset, and sometimes can actually be a crutch that they've depended on their whole lives to be able to solve their problems. And in the story that we've created, those superpowers are not necessarily always that helpful.
No, it's one of the things that I got so caught up in was this idea that the people that lived in Avalon were very loyal to Bolt, but in some ways were not necessarily happy in that world. And Iwan, that's something as Maximus you got a chance to sort of take advantage of, I think, is a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, it was really cool after the discussions with you and Scott to try and make something slightly different with Maximus and sort of try to show the side of him that he's trying to genuinely change the world and trying to help out the people who he believes are living in terrible conditions in the caste system, which they had no choice over, so he believes that he should free them. And yeah, so that's where you get a conflict between the brothers, and he believes that his brother's not doing anything, so he needs to do something himself. And yeah, so that's where we kind of find Maximus in this one. So as you were saying earlier, he's kind of maybe perhaps more of an antagonist than a villain. But yeah, it's just two opposing ideas. There are no clear sort of villains in Marvel, I think, because you have such interesting shades for every character, and the idea was that he's just a passionate politician who wants to change things for the better, for the people, and maybe for himself.
Now, Ellen, you play the Silver Surfer in this, so that's an unusual role for you. Did you have to learn to surf while we were out there?
Yeah, I picked up really quickly though.
Yeah?
Yeah, I found natural talent.
No, we didn't. I don't. Maybe you're not playing the Silver Surfer. We'll get back. Sonya, as I told everybody, you got to kick ass. Tell me about what was that like? Were you having fun?
Yeah, it was a blast. We, Mike and I got great stunts and stunt training and worked with some amazing stunt choreographers and fight choreographers. And I had to take some serious boxing lessons and learn how to punch properly. And yeah, I remember in my audition, you guys asked me, "Are you athletic?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yes I am." But this role required much more than I anticipated. But it was a lot of fun. And you know, fighting in the jungle with full body of like covered in leather, that takes a lot of energy, and it was hard, but worth it. So I hope you guys enjoy our fun action scenes out there in the jungle.
And Mike, I don't think they know, you actually can kick ass. I mean, you play Triton, and so you get a lot of fun doing that, but can you just tell them some of the titles that you hold that you've won or done? Or
I've been doing Taekwondo since I was 12. I'm a 5-time world champion. I have my own school, so being able to do some action in the show and actually do it legitimately is something that I'm very proud of. And this team, like Sonya just mentioned, she kicks some serious butt, and everybody, whether they're trained like me or not, you guys are gonna be really happy with the action. So.
Now, Isabelle, you got to play really the princess in the story, and a lot of your scenes were by yourself, but they weren't by yourself because you were with a 2,000-pound bulldog.
Yes.
So tell us what that was like when we told you that most of your scenes were with a CGI character that we were going to put in the show.
Yeah, it was very interesting because a lot of the time I'm just acting to the air, so I had to make up a a great relationship with Lockjaw, but if you watched me from the outside on the day, you're like, what is this girl doing? She's crazy. But the funniest part is in my audition, at the end of my audition, I got asked to, you know, pretend that there was a huge giant head in front of me. And at this point, I didn't know that Crystal was gonna, you know, talk to Lockjaw. So in my audition, I just started to like go crazy and like play with this invisible creature that I had no idea what it was. And then when I got the role, I was like, oh my gosh, I get why I was running around in the room, like acting to the air. And that was a lot of what I did throughout the show. It was really fun, and every day it was different, and remembering where to look, when to look, and just feeling the relationship with him. It was good. I liked it.
Cool. Would you guys like to see a little bit of the show? Would you guys like to see a little bit of the show?
Yes.
They don't like to see anything.
This is an opening sequence that takes place on Earth. Triton has gone to Earth because there have been Inhumans popping up there, and it's not gone unnoticed by either Inhumans or humans for that matter. So this is just a little bit of the opening of Marvel's The Inhumans. The reason we hired you was because you already were green and had a fin on top of your head and gills on the side of your throat. But you still insisted on makeup. So how many hours were you in that, and what was that like? And tell us folks a little bit about playing Triton.
So I would have 3 to 5 hours in the chair every morning. And you know, Mike Smithson and the special effects makeup team, they are number one, they're really cool guys. So it was really a fast process, and you know, it was time to just kind of zone in for what was going to go on that day. And we blasted some music, and it was a lot of fun. So it's definitely not comfortable. It's something you have to get used to. And we had to do a live cast, so a couple weeks before the shoot, they covered me in goop, and it was a crazy experience. But yeah. Some things that my martial arts training, the Zen and the focus, helped me get through. So it's a lot of fun, and sometimes I had to look in the mirror and say like, oh, I would surprise myself, and then I'd get done with the day and take off my makeup, and everybody would be like, who are you?
I totally forgot what you looked like.
I didn't know who you were when I first saw you on set.
Ellen's, we'll just tell them.
You think now?
Yeah, we'll tell them.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we are. Look, part of, and it's been fun, but obviously the Silver Surfer joke went over so well, I'm going to keep doing them. So I thought we'd jump ahead. This is not a big secret, guys. We just wanted to let folks know the beauty of the show is that the people that are the fish out of water are the heroes of our show. And so they come to Earth, they're not really prepared, they are being hunted, and they make a friend. And they make a friend in a character named Louise, who is an original character that is from Earth, but has some special knowledge. And Ellen, what was it like being, I think, literally the only person in the cast that didn't have powers?
Well, thanks, Jeph, for rubbing that in. We've talked about that, okay? No, it was great. I mean, for my character, I feel like there was a sort of levity that was there in the material and in the script that I really enjoyed doing, and so that sort of made up for not getting to have superpowers, which I'm determined to maybe one day get, but you know, season 1.
Yes, we've decided we're going to do a half-hour sitcom called Geez Louise, that just has Ellen in it, talking to no one.
To myself.
That should go 100 episodes for sure. So there you go, you got a big scoop there. I want to give, I'd be crying too if that's what I found out. Would you guys like to see some more? So this is in the Grand Hall. There is a dining room, much like everybody's house, certainly the Loeb's house on Thanksgiving. where people don't necessarily all have the same opinion about the way things ought to be done. And I think it'll give you a really good sense as to some of the personalities and some of the looks of our characters that you've seen beyond just the little snippets that have been in the trailer. So this is what we refer to as the dinner sequence. If we've shown anybody how Black Hole speaks, Anson, when you and I first started talking about playing this role, as I teased you earlier on, we told you that there was not going to be any dialogue, and oddly enough, that was what intrigued you the most. Can you talk a little bit about how you came to the role, and then ultimately the language that you use that you only share with Medusa?
I couldn't imagine ever coming across this acting challenge again. So I really wanted to leave at it. And Jeph, being the very smart man he is, knew what I would ask for and he immediately offered to help find me help within the linguistics and signing community. And I wanted to take it very seriously and not just at face value. So I knew that I was going to begin by learning how sign systems work. I started watching not just signers, but orchestra conductors. And I started building a lexicon. But I think what helped me the most is having a collaborator who took it as seriously as I did and asked for me to send her videos of my homework. So I was like, I guess I need to do my homework. And I think that Serinda and I worked very well in that capacity. I couldn't have done it without her, definitely.
Now, Serinda, you had the other half, which we don't exactly see in that scene, but when Bull speaks to the rest of them, you are the one who has to translate for everyone else. So what was it like? I mean, as those of us who saw the scripts, you saw what he was saying, but you didn't know the physical manifestation of how that was going to happen.
No, it was basically a scene. Well, I would look at the scenes and I go, there's his part and there's my part, and then I realized I had to say both parts. And so it was really interesting because the duality of that, because normally you're used to playing off somebody and somebody's emotions, and that's, again, I think we work so well together because there was so much emotion that I could see from you, that I could get, that it was easy on my side, but then I have to also be able to say it so that other people can understand it. So it was much easier when, in like the scene you just saw, when I'm speaking for him to everyone else, because that's how it goes. But if it's like a more intimate scene between the two of us, I'm just talking to myself. That's it. And so it was a challenge, but it was an amazing challenge to learn. And yeah, he would send me the videos and we would sync them. So it's not just, as I've said before, it's not him just doing like hand puppets and I'm talking. We have it synced. So if we went off the sync, we would stop the scene. So I know the words, and if you pay attention throughout the whole show, you'll start to recognize words and moments. And so when he speaks, I'll be looking at it through my periphery, and there's a really interesting relationship that you guys might catch, because I don't always say what he signs word for word. That's one of the best things about Medusa. She's got a strong opinion. And so you'll see us kind of having this interesting grind as we communicate, and the relationship that's there. It's obviously husband and wife, king and queen, and also I play as interpreter. So it's it was such a fun role to try to figure out, but I couldn't have obviously done without you either. It was, our videos were amazing.
And Anson, we obviously were very sensitive to the deaf community and not in any way saying that we were doing signing. This was a language which Bolt created so that he could communicate specifically with Medusa.
Yeah, I actually even checked my signs against ASL more often than not to make sure that nothing was overlapping, but I worked with an ASL consultant to learn sort of what were some of the underlying rules of ASL that make it more efficient, and that helped a lot. Yeah.
Roel, one of the things that you can definitely see, at least in those first two sequences, is just the scope. I mean, in one case, you were out in the jungle, and in the other case, you were on one of our sets. How did you approach the particular look of what it is that we had, and particularly when we started to talk about set design, that you had a vision that I think really helped sell the story in terms of the grandeur of the palace, and obviously that's just one room. There's a whole city that you guys cannot believe what it looks like.
Yeah, no, you are looking at all the movies that are out there and seeing what works on IMAX and what doesn't work on IMAX. And then you need to also realize that we're making television. So it was a kind of a mix between, okay, we need to design sets that have scale also in height, and where we can move the camera forward instead of sideways. So you see a lot of movements of the camera, also something that I really like. I like scope, I like move the camera, but we're moving the camera in a different way than we normally see on television to kind of give you the feeling of going into this world, revealing the things that are cool to see. And I think we did a wonderful job, and the art department did a wonderful job building these massive sets that are hugely high and that are like 360 degrees visible in all sizes. So I could really be low angle with the actors to show the scope of this whole thing. It was a blast.
Annie, this was like a new thing. Like this was. I remember when you came in. You got all excited. Tell me what it was like to find out that you were going to play Gorgon, and then you were going to be wearing these hooves and this personality, which in so many ways is you. I mean, I think everybody here is the kind of lovable and yet sometimes very angry and dangerous person that you can be. Tell us about that.
It was kind of cool because playing Gorgon had actually kind of had a way of expressing myself and actually discovering stuff about myself as well. Like during filming, I would kind of just go around town and I realized like I'm doing very Gorgonic things, and I'd be like, it was such a great discovery. This guy's a lot of fun. I mean, you know, having the opportunity to consistently just act off of impulse. It's very exhilarating. Everyone should try it. So, you know, discovering more about him, and especially the fact of the size and the scope, and it made me realize a lot that I have no idea my own strength.
Oh my gosh, you guys, he hurts people.
I really
Legit.
do.
Like if you ever hug this man, it is one of the most painful things. If you see anytime I have to hug him, my hand goes out first to like buffer him coming at me. Like on screen as well.
He just hugged me backstage and got welts.
Yeah, we're not joking. Like he is the most aggressive hugger you will ever meet. If you like aggressive hugs, hug him.
I like how Emmy said he took on being, what was your description? Gorgonic.
Gorgonic.
Yeah, because he really did. So when we first met, I said to him, I dare you to chest press me. And he was like, all right. So the last night on set, I laid like really straight like a board, and Emmy chest pressed me, and I'm thinking like maybe like 8 or 10 times. It's like we're up to 34, and I'm just getting chest pressed by Emmy. It was amazing.
Yeah, and it's not that I stopped. I actually just was realizing like I could do this all day.
Correct.
I think I was at like 45, and we're like, we have to go. We have stuff to do.
Yeah, it's like on set. That video might come up one day. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Definitely. Very humble too.
It's even weirder is walking in a trailer and seeing Mike Moe as Triton, the iPhone, and then these people on the ground. So what? And I just walk into it.
Yeah.
So if MA and Gorgon are completely acting on impulse, sort of the yin and the yang, or in many ways the relationship in Mice and Men. Ken, when you got the role of Karnak, and we explained to you that you know, not in addition to being advisor to the king and someone who can sort of see the world, both half empty and half full simultaneously, that you had to look after this guy. Tell us what it was like playing Karnak.
It was daunting. I mean, the character is so formidable, physically, intellectually, and spiritually, that I'm constantly challenged by being in the position to play him. So I've never felt that before, where I'm kind of constantly catching him, trying to catch him, and it stretches me, in ways that I'm not used to. So with Emmy, it's great. I think with us, we started just a very casual debate over what is your favorite superpower very early on.
I won.
I think it's still ongoing. And my position was that, I not only do I want to fly, I think really everyone does, no matter what their answer is. And that started like this thing.
Yeah, but the fact is you're super
Here we
strength.
go.
We've heard
You
this
can get an
all day.
object
All day,
under your
guys.
feet
All day.
and thrust yourself into the air, which makes you fly. And also, if you do fly, and you land on the ground, you're not strong enough for a proper landing, and you could die.
If you're a terrible
Why? Because it would be a 5 minutes. I'm just saying.
Just in response to how we're different.
No.
I'm holding on to something.
I think the only way that we're going to be able to settle this is by showing you guys exactly what it looks like when Gorgon fights and when Karnak fights in a scene that happens later in the show when, let's just say, Maximus has made his move. You guys have never seen it with all the stuff that was in there, because all that was going on, and Ken had to do the scene. Scott, tell us about the whole idea behind Karnak's ability to be able to read things in different ways.
It's just the idea that Karnak can see the fault in anything, whether it's a person, an idea, a plan, a wall, whatever it is. And as much as how great that sounds, it sort of leads to a life where it feels like the glass is not only half empty all the time, but the glass is actually shattered on the ground. So because of that, Karnak has a very, very narrow vision of the way he sees life. But it also creates this point of view where just immediately he understands everything around him and how to deal with that situation. And so the challenge was to try to create that in a very visual way that the audience could also see. And it's through our very talented VFX people that we were able to come up with that sort of thing.
I want to give a big shout out to 5-time Emmy winner who does the score for us on a little show called Marvel's Jessica Jones. Sean Callery does the score for it is a full 70-piece orchestra. It lives in the big world of IMAX and ABC that we knew we were going to have this happen, and Sean's just killing it. He's just doing a beautiful job. I guess there's been some discussion about the wig, and you know what, guys? This is kind of what it looks like. Part of the reason why we can't show you all of this incredible process is in the first 2 hours alone, there are 600 special effects shots, which 4 different teams are working on throughout the world, and not the least of which is a 2,000-pound bulldog named Lockjaw, who will teleport in and teleport out of your life and make you feel incredibly grand. Iwan, we talked about it a little bit before about how we don't really see Maximus as the villain, but I mean, I think a lot of people know you from that other television show, particularly people down here. You had a lot of concerns, you bastard. How did you come to terms with that? And when you came on board, tell us about Maximus.
Yeah, well, again, it was, my fear was that because of I looked into who this Maximus guy was, and it was like, oh, it looks like I'm doing the same thing again. I don't really, it's that fear of being typecast, and that you just end up doing just repeating myself and playing. But then, as we discussed it more and more, I realised that wasn't at all what we were trying to create in this show, and your enthusiasm and vision really kind of inspired me actually to kind of think, well, I think we could make something really interesting from this character and tell this story from a different perspective of this young man who he went through his pterogenesis and he became nothing, and in this society which is all about what power you have, to be where he is, he's the lowest of the low. And he's kind of out, and the only reason he's really not working down the mines is because he's the brother of the king. And even though he believes he would make a much better king because he can talk to the people, he's a man of the people. And he had, it's this, and you see there in that clip that there was some friendship in his past with Medusa, which he feels that he kind of lost, and he's become sort of ignored really by everyone. So that kind of motivates his kind of want to further himself as well as saving the people that he feels so sorry for. So yeah, in a way he is a revolutionary and a forward thinker, and he thinks that he can genuinely change the world for the better for the people. Yeah, I think that's probably kind of where we find him in this series. But then, and he's ruthless. If he believes that in order to make this happen, these are the things that he has to do, and he doesn't like it. He loves his family. They're the only family he has, and it's a lonely world. But his sort of belief in what he's doing, and that he thinks it's right. And when you hear what he's saying, it is right. And he's just trying to stop suffering. So yeah, and then the cost of the decisions that he makes really starts to corrupt him. It's a very Shakespearean sort of story, like a sort of quite Macbeth type vibe. So that's why I really wanted to do it. Did that make any sense? I don't know.
And Serinda, you really get caught sort of in the middle of all this. I mean, you are literally the woman between the two brothers, not just sitting up here, but I think one of the things that we talked about from the very beginning is how important it is that Medusa isn't just an extension of Bolt, and how did you bring that to the character?
Well, one, it was already on the page. I think that's what Marvel does so well, is that there's such strong female characters, and so as soon as you're going to be a part of Marvel, you're taken care of. So that was incredible right off the bat. And there was just an insistence as we were going through it, was even in the dialogue, but also in the whole plot points, was that she wasn't just going to be this interpreter. And as I said before, you see those moments where she challenges him, where she changes his words a little, where she's not willing to just stand behind him. And so that was from the beginning. I mean, even from the audition, it was very apparent. We have no idea what we're auditioning for at all in any capacity. With imaginary sides that disappear in 24 hours. It's very ominous and very scary when you're walking in. And so we were in the audition process, and at the end, I was going in for, I think it was Margie. And couldn't be farther from who she is. And I'm going in for Margie, and at the end, Jeph is in the room, and he goes, I want you to just finish it by saying, but remember, I am your queen. And I got all these goosebumps, and I was like, I don't know who she is, but I love Margie. She's amazing. Where does she come from? And that was sort of the insistence from day one, from being in the room. It was just this presence that she had to have. And that started from the audition, and then it just continued with every script that I saw. So that was amazing to come into.
So we're getting down to the final few minutes as these things tend to go. We have one more surprise for you. Before we do that, I wanted, Tim, if you can put up the information for folks. If there's stuff here that you do want to see in IMAX, if you can afterwards, you want to mosey on over to Horton Plaza Park. There's going to be, and this is the reason to go, guys. I mean, seriously, there's going to be free food. And I know about half of you are going, free food, I'm there. I just saw it, and I'll watch it again in IMAX. And there'll be some giveaways, and it'll be an amazing experience. It's only tonight. These guys will be coming by, and we do heartily recommend that you stop by there and see the IMAX experience for the first time, and then tell folks about how amazing it is. Just because I'm not sure you remember, when does it open in IMAX? Let's try it again. IMAX.
Awesome.
Fantastic. And then on ABC? That's amazing. You're just terrible. We wanted to, in addition to showing you stuff that you've never seen before, and I really hope that none of it turns up online, because we'll know who you are. Because if there's guys that are watching you, I'm just telling you, that's what's happening. There is a extended trailer that's going to be on the front of Dunkirk in the IMAX theaters all around the world. And how many of you are going to go see Dunkirk? Because awesome. And when you go, this is what you're going to get to see in IMAX. Creators of Marvel Inhumans. Thank you all. We'll see you September 1st, September 29th, and here next year for Marvel's Inhumans. Thank you so much. Be sure to go over to Horton Plaza and check it out in IMAX. Have a great night. Take care.
Marvel's Inhumans.